Hello everyone. This is our next lecture for Unit 2nd, which is focusing on the various laws of thermodynamics. We have studied already zeroth law, first law, and then we have already seen the applications of first law of thermodynamics, right? We have also defined several basic terms related to law of thermodynamics. Now, one important topic we are going to discuss in today's lecture, and the topic is entropy of the system. Okay, so the objective is to understand the concept of entropy and related definitions and derivations. The outcomes of today's lecture, after you attend this lecture, you will be able to learn about the entropy of gas, okay, and you will get the knowledge of change in entropy during a reversible process. There we will use the Carnot cycle. We have already studied about the Carnot engine and Carnot cycle, so we will see that, and after that we will go to learn about TS diagram. So after studying this, is you will be able to know that TS diagram is quite similar to the PV diagram. Earlier we used to define the thermodynamic changes in accordance with the P and V diagram. We always take the x-axis as volume and y-axis as P, pressure, right? Similar to that, now we can plot the thermodynamic system in terms of temperature and entropy of that system. And finally, the last outcome, what you will learn about the entropy of perfect gas in terms of different thermodynamic variables. Thermodynamic variables means pressure, volume, and temperature. So to attain these objectives, the content of today's lecture is divided into several parts. First, we will start with the definition of entropy. Then we will discuss about the change in entropy. We will learn, because every quantity, whatever we are studying in physics or in thermodynamics, that should have some physical significance, right? So we will try to understand what is the physical significance of entropy, or what is the physical concept behind the entropy, right? Then we will adopt a Carnot cycle, and we will derive the expression for the change of entropy in a reversible cycle. You know, Carnot cycle is an ideal cycle, and that is completely reversible. Then afterwards, we will learn about the principle of increase of entropy. And then, since we have seen the change of entropy in reversible cycle, we should also know about what is happening with entropy if we talk about irreversible cycle. And then we will move to the next topic, that is TS diagram. And finally, the lecture will end with the derivation of entropy for a perfect gas. We will define the entropy change in terms of pressure, volume, and temperature, right? Here are some reference books which you can consider for further study and to clear your doubts, if any. So let us start. What is entropy? Actually, when we have learned about the second law of thermodynamics, during that time, during the development of that law, Clausius, because Clausius has also given some statement about the second law of thermodynamics. So what he felt is that there should be a need of another variable of state. We already have some variable of state, right? Temperature, pressure, and volume, or internal energy. But he felt that there should be some additional variable of state to define or to describe the condition of working substance completely, right? And then he defined a new term that was termed as entropy. According to Clausius, entropy was found to remain constant in adiabatic process. This is happening quite similar as that of temperature in a isothermal process. You know, in isothermal process, temperature of system remains constant. Similarly, in adiabatic process, entropy is remained constant. So we can define entropy as a substance property which remains constant during adiabatic process. Okay, you know, you should recall adiabatic process. Adiabatic process is a process where no heat exchange is allowed. So in that process, entropy remains constant. Okay, now we will see how the entropy is changed. What is the change in entropy? For that, let us consider reversible Carnot cycles. If we look on the diagram, you can see here, see, this is P and this is V on y-axis and x-axis. If we consider these are, we can consider these as a Carnot cycle, two different Carnot cycles. One is A, B, C, D, and another one is D, C, E, F. So there is a isothermal expansion because it is same temperature. So isothermal expansion because volume is increasing and pressure is decreasing here. In the second process where B to C, the temperature is changed. So this is not isothermal, but this is adiabatic expansion. And then similarly from C to D, it is isothermal compression because we are changing the volume of the system. We are reducing the volume of system, but the temperature is remaining constant. So this is again isothermal compression. And finally, this is adiabatic compression. So these two are the two Carnot cycle, and we are saying that these are lying with two adiabatic process. One is represented by L and another one is represented by M. These are two adiabatic isotherm. Okay, not isotherm. This is the adiabatic process. Now, along these two adiabatics, L and M, there is what is changing. One is volume is already changing, and along with the this adiabatics, what is changing? The temperature is also changing with the change in pressure. See, the pressure is continuously decreasing, and here the volume either increasing or decreasing, and the temperature is also changing from T1 to T2, or for the second Carnot cycle it is changing from T2 to T3. Right, now we are considering our previous Carnot cycle. Similar to that, we can find that during A, B, C, D Carnot cycle, example, heat Q1 is absorbed by the system. Okay, and that is absorbed at what temperature? This is at temperature T1, and the heat Q2 is rejected to the sink to at lower temperature, that is denoted by T2. Okay, so this is the complete cycle, and according to that we have already derived the formula for the efficiency of Carnot cycle, and that is written as eta equals to Q1 minus Q2 upon Q1 equals to T1 minus T2 upon T1, or we can write in a different form, and that can be written as 1 minus Q2 upon Q1 equals to 1 minus T2 upon T1. Since 1 and 1 is similar, it will be cancelled out. The final form will be Q2 upon Q1 equals to T2 upon T1. Now, since we are talking about the different states, so we should take the variables of single state to one side. So what we are doing is Q1 upon T1 equals to Q2 upon T2. This expression is for first Carnot cycle. Similarly, we can derive the expression for second Carnot cycle. Here, what is happening? Q2 heat is absorbing and Q3 heat is rejecting to sink at temperature T3. The source temperature is T2. So T2 and T3 are the two different temperatures. So similar to this cycle, we can write the expression for this cycle as Q2 upon T2 equals to Q3 upon T3. So if we consider there are several Carnot cycles, similarly, what we get for if we compare equation 1 and equation 2, what we get? Q1 upon T1 equals to Q2 upon T2 equals to Q3 upon T3, and so on. That should be equals to constant. If we write in a general term, what will happen? If, for example, Q is the heat that is absorbed by the system at temperature T, either it is absorbed or rejected, we can consider one generalized term that Q is that heat at temperature T. What we can write? Q upon T equals to constant. This is related to the two adiabatics L and M. Right. if we consider that these two adiabatics are very close to each other, okay, in that case the change in the heat absorbed is quite small, and we are considering it to denote by delta Q, that is heat absorbed at constant temperature T, and that is happening during the transition from state 1 to state 2, right? So in that case what will happen, that in that case we can write similarly what we have given from here, Q upon T equals to constant. Now the amount of heat is very small for a small change, because these adiabatics are very close to each other. That means it will become del Q upon T equals to constant, right? This constant ratio, this one, is known as the change in entropy between the states represented by two different adiabatics, what we have defined here by L and M. Okay, it can be represented, because normally we represent entropy by term S. Now here we are considering that the system is very close to each other, adiabatics are very close to each other. We can write it delta S equals to delta Q upon T. Right, now if we want to calculate the change in entropy for a finite reversible change in the state of working substance from A to B state, we are considering that A to B in general term, then we can write in the integral form. How to write? Integral of ds within limits of SA to SB. These are the entropy for state A and state B. We can integrate it. On the other hand side, we can write the coordinates of the as an integration limit A to B dq upon T. So we can write it again. When we integrate it, it will become S. So putting the limits, we get SB minus SA equals to integration within limits of A to B dq upon T. That is our equation number 3. So this expression is a function of thermodynamic coordinates of a system, right? This function is represented by a symbol S and known as entropy, right? So this is known as entropy of that system, right? We can define, on the basis of this, we can define the entropy of that system as a function of thermodynamical coordinates that can define the state of system. That means the pressure, volume, temperature, and internal energy, and associated changes between two different states, that should be equal to integral of dq upon T between these two states along any reversible path. That should be on the reversible path joining them. Ts is an exact differential. This is important point to consider. When we defined the first law of thermodynamics, we have told that the dq, du, and dw are totally different to each other. Du is the exact differential. The other one are not exact differential. Here ds is also an exact differential, and that's why entropy is an extensive property, because it depends on the mass of working substances. Okay, now we will understand what is the physical significance of entropy. It is quite interesting to note here that there is no physical concept of entropy, as we cannot feel it physically. There is nothing physical to understand it. Okay, now you can imagine, we can feel the temperature, pressure, etc., right? Other properties, other variables we can feel by ourselves, but entropy cannot be felt directly, similar to temperature and pressure. So according to the definition, the change of entropy, what is change of entropy? That is equals to heat absorbed or rejected, right? Either it is added to the system or it is removed from the system. That is represented by dq, and divided by absolute temperature, that is given by T. So it is a ratio of dq upon T. If we rearrange it, what we get is dq equals to T into change of entropy. That means heat has the same dimension as the product of entropy and absolute temperature. Now we will compare it with the potential energy. What is potential energy? The gravitational potential energy of a body is directly proportional to the product of mass and its height above some zero level. If we define some zero level, we can calculate the potential energy of the body by the multiplication of height and mass of that body, right? In the similar way, if we replace height by the temperature and mass or inertia by the entropy, it works very similar. So we can take or we can define entropy as thermal inertia which bears to heat motion, right? Similar to inertia which bears to normal motion of particles. In the same way, entropy is a thermal inertia which bears to heat motion, and this relation is quite similar to that which is related to mass bears to linear motion or moment of inertia that bears to rotational motion, right? So this is the physical concept of entropy. Somehow we can represent it in terms of mass or inertia, right? Now if we think about the change of entropy in adiabatic process, what will happen in adiabatic process? We know that there is no heat exchange take place. That means dq is 0. If dq is 0 for adiabatic process, what will happen? This term will become 0, and that means the change of entropy will also be 0. It means for a adiabatic process, the entropy remains constant. This is the proof what we have defined in the beginning for the entropy term, right? So this is kind of definition of entropy and its physical concept. Now the next topic is related to the change of entropy in a reversible cycle. For this, because you know Carnot cycle is ideally reversible, right? So to calculate the change of entropy, let us consider one reversible Carnot cycle. We have studied about this. This is isothermal expansion, this is adiabatic expansion, then again isothermal compression and adiabatic compression, right? Now this is at temperature T1 and this one is at temperature T2, right? This we have already considered. Now we are considering each process one by one, similar to the Carnot cycle. First process is isothermal expansion. Let us consider that Q1 is the amount of heat that is absorbed by working substance, and that is done at temperature T1. Here we are considering T1. The coordinates for the initial state are P1 and V1, and the final state here for B point is P2, B2. So what will be the increase of entropy in this process? We have already defined in the integral form. What will happen? The integration within limits from A to B ds equals to Q1 upon T1, because here the amount of heat is Q1 and the temperature is T1. So this is the first expression for isothermal expansion. Now if we talk about adiabatic expansion, we have already seen from the definition of entropy that entropy remains constant in the adiabatic process. So that means during this process, the ds between B to C will be 0. Okay, this is quite similar and directly related to the definition of entropy. Now let us go to the third process, and third process is related to isothermal compression. In this process, it is quite similar to expansion, but just opposite. And here what is happening? It is rejecting heat Q2 at temperature T2 to the sink, right? Now what will be the change of entropy in this process? It will be again ds within the integration within the limits C to D of ds equals to minus Q2 upon T2, because here the system is rejecting heat to the sink. So it will be minus Q2 upon T2. Now again we will come to adiabatic process, that is adiabatic compression, and for adiabatic process entropy change is 0. There is no entropy change. Entropy remains constant for adiabatic. So the total entropy change for the complete system, for the complete cycle, what we can add on all the entropy changes in each individual process. So what will be A to B integration ds plus integration within limits B to C ds plus integration again within limits C to D ds plus integration D to A of ds. Now, if we put the value of each of them, the second term and fourth term will be 0 for due to adiabatic change. And this one is q1 upon t1 minus q2 upon t2. Here we are replacing the normal integral sign with the cyclic integral sign, which represent a complete closed cycle. Okay, so this is the expression for entropy change. Now we will see, we have already seen when we calculated the efficiency of the cycle, what is there? Q1 upon T1 should be equals to Q2 upon T2. We have already seen for the Carnot cycle. So if we compare these two, Q1 upon T1 minus Q2 upon T2 equals to 0. Right now, if we substitute this value in our equation 1, then what we get? The entropy change for a closed cycle is equals to 0. That means in a cyclic reversible process, the entropy of system remains unchanged or remains constant, right? In other words, we can say that the total change in entropy is always 0 for a closed reversible cycle. Okay. Now the next topic is related to principle of increase of entropy. Let us consider one engine for this purpose, that is performing irreversible cycle of changes. Okay, and in this engine, for example, that the working substance absorb heat Q1 at temperature T1 from the source and reject heat Q2 to the sink, which is at temperature T2. Then what will be the efficiency of this cycle? The efficiency, we already know the formula, that eta dash equals to Q1 minus Q2 upon Q1, and that can be written as 1 minus Q2 upon Q1. Okay, this is our first equation. Now we know, according to Carnot theorem, we have studied after the second law of thermodynamics, Carnot proposed his theorem, and according to that, the efficiency of any engine should be less than that of a reversible engine working between the same set of temperatures, right? T1 and T2. So that means the efficiency of reversible engine working between T1 and T2 can be written as eta equals to 1 minus T2 upon T1. We know from the Carnot theorem that eta dash should be less than eta. This is the reversible engine and this is the efficiency for irreversible engine. Putting the value of each, we get 1 minus Q2 upon Q1 should be less than 1 minus T2 upon T1. On simplifying this, we can remove this 1 and 1 from both sides. What we get is Q2 upon Q1 should be greater than T2 upon T1. If we bring the coordinates corresponding to one state to one side, what we get is Q2 upon T2 should be greater than Q1 upon T1. And that means Q2 upon T2 minus Q1 upon T1 should always be greater than 0. Right? If we consider these two engines as a whole system, what is happening? The source is losing the entropy by an amount Q1 upon T1, right? And what is happening with the sink? It is gaining an entropy because it is positive sign, an entropy of Q2 upon T2. If we look on the individual system, it is the Q1 upon T1 and Q2 upon T2. These are the entropies for source and sink, and these are the losses and gains. So the total change, if we talk about the net change of entropy for the whole system, that will be equals to Q2 upon T2 minus Q1 upon T1, right? That is, we have already seen that this quantity is greater than 0. That means this quantity is a positive quantity, which is always greater than 0. That means there is an increase of entropy during an irreversible process. And this is known as principle of increase of entropy, right? This is about this principle. Now, since we have already seen that the entropy change in a reversible process using that Carnot cycle is already 0. Now, let us think what will happen to the entropy if we talk about irreversible process. So, for that, we already know that for any possible process, the entropy of any isolated system should be increased or remain constant. We have already seen just now in the previous section, we have seen that the entropy is increased, principle of increase of entropy, or it remains constant, we have seen in the reversible system. So we are considering that for any possible process, it should increase or remain constant. So opposite to that, the processes in which we expect the decrease of entropy, it should not take place. According to this sentence, that should be the right way to think, that the process in which there is possibility of entropy decrease cannot take place. Or we can think in a other way, if the entropy of an isolated system is considered as maximum level, so any change in that system will cause the decrease in entropy, and that means that change will not take place, right? It means a process can be called as irreversible process if the entropy decreases when the direction of the process is reversed. This is the change of entropy in irreversible process. Now let us go to the next topic, that is TS diagram. So until now we have defined all the system changes in terms of pressure and volume. We have taken all the curves on the axis where P was on y-axis and volume was on x-axis, right? So we have defined the Carnot cycle also in this way. Now if we have already introduced another variable, entropy, so we can replace this PV diagram by another diagram, and that was defined as T and S. This is very important diagram and is commonly used in engineering and meteorology fields, right? So the thermodynamic change in the state of substance can be represented by plotting entropy on x-axis and temperature on y-axis. This diagram is known as temperature entropy diagram for the substance. It is quite similar to the PV diagram, and it can correspond to the Carnot cycle if we replace C. For example, here this process was isothermal process because the temperature was remaining constant, but here the entropy change takes place. So we can write A to B, that should be isothermal because the temperature is fixed. So we can draw a horizontal line. Here the entropy changed from A to B, and that's why it is a horizontal line. Now if we go to B to C, that is adiabatic process. There is no change of entropy. During adiabatic changes, entropy remains constant, and that's why it is completely vertical line, which is representing the change in temperature, but entropy is remaining constant here. In the opposite way, if we go from C to D, this is again isothermal process, so that's why we can plot horizontal line corresponding to temperature axis. There is no change in temperature, but in this process entropy of course change, and that's why we are drawing a horizontal line here. The similar to B to C process, the D to A process is adiabatic, and here the entropy change is 0, and that's why it can be plotted as a vertical line where the temperature changes from T2 to T1. So this is very similar to the Carnot cycle given on the left hand side. Now let us assume that S1 is the entropy of working substance in state A. When we are starting, this is the initial point, and S2 is the entropy in state B. In this time, Q1 is the heat absorbed during this isothermal expansion. We have already seen in this curve, Q1 is the isothermal expansion and T1 is the temperature from A to B, right? That's what is written here. So along AB at constant temperature T1, and Q2 is the heat rejected during isothermal compression at temperature T2 along CD. So this is just the opposite. A to B, it is taking the heat, and along C to D, it is rejecting the heat at T2. So the total gain entropy of the working substance along AB can be written as S2 minus S1 equals to Q1 upon T1. Okay, along this adiabatic expansion, it should be 0. But when we go from C to D, the change in entropy can be written as S2 minus S1 equals to Q2 upon T2, because their heat is rejected, that is Q2 at temperature T2. Again, along the adiabatic compression BA, there is no change in entropy, right? Now from equation 1 and 2, what this and this both equation, we can write T1 into S2 minus S1 equals to Q1 and T2 into S2 minus S1 equals to Q2. Right? Now, if we subtract these equations with each other, what we get, Q1 minus Q2 equals to T1 minus T2 into S2 minus S1. The quantity Q1 minus Q2 is representing the total work done in the cycle, whereas T1 minus T2 and S2 minus the multiplication of this quantity is representing the area of rectangle on TS diagram. If you see here the TS diagram, this is representing the area of this curve surrounded by this curve, right? So this is the total work done. If we compare mathematically and the curve, we can say the total work done can be given mathematically by this formula and can be represented by the area enclosed in the curve that represents the total work done in a reversible Carnot cycle. So that is all about TS diagram. Now the last topic for today is we will calculate the entropy of a perfect gas, because we always think about ideal situations, right? And the ideal gas is the perfect example to calculate any thermodynamic calculation. So we again think about what will happen to entropy for a perfect gas. For this, let us consider 1 gram of a perfect gas that is occupying a volume V at pressure P and temperature T. Let us assume that heat dQ is supplied to the gas system. So according to first law of thermodynamics, what we know, dQ will be equals to du plus dW, where du is the internal energy change and dW is the work done. Let us assume again that we have already defined actually in our previous lectures that let Cv be the specific heat at constant volume and dT is the rise in temperature corresponding to the changes in the system, and dV is the change in volume. Then we can write different terms as du, internal energy can be written as Cv into dt, and the work done can be represented by P into dV. So if we put these values in equation 1, what we get is dq equals to Cv into dt plus P into dV. This is our equation number 2. Now if we assume that S is the entropy per unit mass of the gas, then what we can write, S equals to integration of dQ upon T. We have already defined it in our first section. So putting the value of dQ in this equation, what we get, dQ integration of 1 upon T into Cv dt plus P dV, right? If we separate it out in two different terms, what we get is integration of Cv dt upon T plus integration of P upon T into dV. That is our equation number 3. Now this is the general equation. Now we have to calculate the entropy. We have to represent the entropy in terms of different thermodynamic variables. What are the thermodynamic variables? Pressure, volume and temperature. So right now we will calculate entropy in terms of different combinations of thermodynamic variables. First is S in terms of temperature and volume. We know for ideal gas PV equals to RT, and that's why we can write P upon T equals to R upon V. Now if we substitute this equation, this in equation 3, what we get is S equals to integration of Cv dt upon T plus integration R upon V into dV. Now entropy is equals to Cv log T, the integral of dt upon T, that is log T, plus R log V plus integration constant, that is plus constant. Now if we use the Mayer equation, that is Cp minus Cv equals to R, what we get, S equals to Cv log T plus, putting the value of R here, Cp minus Cv log V plus constant. This here Cp is the specific heat at constant pressure. Okay, so this is the equation in terms of temperature and volume. You see here there is no term related to pressure. Now again from ideal gas equation we know we want to calculate entropy in terms of temperature and pressure. That means we have to remove the volume term. So we can write V equals to RT upon P. And if we integrate our ideal gas equation PV equals to RT, we can write P dV plus V dP equals to R dt. Okay, rearranging this, we get PdV equals to RdT minus VdT. If we substitute these values in equation 3, what we get is S equals to integration of Cv dt upon T plus RdT minus VdT upon T. Okay, separating it out, then we will get Cv into dt upon T plus RdT upon T minus RdP upon P. R is common here, so we can write outside, and we will replace the value of R using Mayer's equation again. What we get is S equals to integration of Cv into dt upon T plus Cp minus Cv into dt upon T minus dP upon P. Right? We can combine it again. And when we combine, you can see here that Cv dt upon T, and here it is with negative sign, so this will be cancelling out, and final expression will be S equals to integration Cp dt upon T minus Cp minus Cv into dP upon T. If we integrate this term, what we get, this will be log T and this will be log P. So we will get the final expression as S equals to Cp into log T minus Cp minus Cv into log P plus constant. Right? This is our equation, which is representing the entropy in terms of temperature and pressure values. Similarly, we can calculate the entropy in terms of pressure and volume. From ideal gas equation, we know T equals to PV upon R. If we integrate this, we get dt equals to P into dV plus V into dP upon R. R is the constant, so remain as it is. While substituting this value in our equation 3 again, S equals to integration Cv into PdV plus VdP upon RT plus this term will remain as it is plus RdV upon V. Right? If we separate it out and we will change some things, for example, here we can change RT by PV from the ideal gas equation again. So it will become PV here. Now separate it out, it will become S equals to integration of Cv into dV upon V plus dP upon P plus, now again using the Mayer's equation, we can replace R by Cp minus Cv into dV upon V. Right? If we compare this, see this term minus Cv into dV upon V and Cv into dV upon V cancel out. The remaining term will be Cv into dP upon P plus Cp into dV upon V. This is inside integral. If we do integration, it is again in the log form. So it will become S equals to Cv log P plus Cp log V plus integration constant. Right? Now these all are the equations which is for for perfect gas. Right? Now we have already assumed that the entropy of gas is zero at absolute zero temperature. We have already assumed during the derivation of this. Now in actual practice, actually the entropy of any particular system is not that important as that of the change in entropy of gas. So the change in entropy is more important when it goes from state 1 to state 2, where the coordinates of these two states are P1, V1, T1 to P2, V2, T2. So how we can get the change in entropy? We can simply integrate equation 3 between the limits T1 and T2, right? Simply it is changing. So what will be the change? It will be delta S equals to S2 minus S1 for each of the above three cases. So we can simply write delta S equals to S2 minus S1 equals to Cv log, it was T earlier. For the one state, if we consider two states, it will be log T2 minus log T1, and that's why on combining it will become log T2 upon T1. Similarly for the volume term, and similarly we can represent it in different terms of temperature and pressure, pressure and volume. Remember that all these three equations are evaluated for a unit mass of gas, right? If we consider the gas mass is m, then we need to multiply all these equations by mass m of the gas. Okay, then it will be the change of entropy for that particular mass. Okay, this is about the entropy of perfect gas. Now let us move to the some questions. This is the quiz which will judge your knowledge, what you have achieved today from today's lecture. So the first question is, in a reversible adiabatic process, entropy increases, decreases, remains unchanged, or none of these. So this is related to the definition of entropy, and entropy always remains unchanged for the adiabatic process. So the right answer is B. The second question is the change in entropy of a mole of an ideal gas when the gas undergoes free expansion is positive, negative, zero, or infinite. So the right answer is A. This is always positive. We have calculated that entropy is always positive quantity, more than zero, right? So the third question is the entropy of a system in irreversible process increases, decreases, remains unchanged, or none of these. For reversible process, it was remains unchanged, but for the irreversible process, it is increased. Okay, we have calculated this and principle of increase of entropy according to that, right? The unit of entropy is joule per Kelvin, calorie per Kelvin, both A and B, or none of the above. The right answer is C, both A and B, because both are quite similar. Joule and Kelvin, calorie are quite similar, and the units of energy. So energy per unit temperature, that is represented through entropy. The next question is entropy is a measure of perfect order, available energy, disorder, or available heat. So entropy is the measure of disorder. The right answer is C. The next question is entropy is maximum in which state? Gas, solid, liquid, or can be any? We have just now answered the previous question. Entropy is a measure of disorder. So what will be the maximum? The maximum disorder will be in gas state. That means entropy will be maximum for gas state. Right answer is A option. The next question is in a natural process, entropy increases, decreases, remains same, or sometime increase, sometime decrease. The right answer for this question is A. It is increasing. All the natural process entropy always tends to increase. Next question is net entropy change in Carnot cycle is more than 1, negative, positive, or 0. We have considered Carnot cycle for a complete reversible cycle. The entropy change is 0. So answer is D for this question. Next question is a piece of ice is added into water in a cup. The entropy is increased, decreased, undergoes no change, sometimes increased, sometimes not. So what is happening? Ice is added into water in a cup. So what is happening? Ice will be changed into water. Solid state will change into liquid. That means the entropy will be increased. So right answer is A, is increased. Which of the following represents a reversible process? ds is less than 0, ds is more than 0, ds equals to 0, or none of these. So we have just now seen that Carnot cycle entropy change is 0. That means the right answer is C, ds equals to 0. I hope you have grasped all the knowledge which we have discussed today about entropy, and I expect that you must have understood all the concepts which have been discussed today. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for your attention. Thanks.